Hello and welcome to my Watercolored Unicorn Card. Today I'm using the Faber-Castell Albrecht Durer watercolors pencils. This cute set of unicorn stamps from Hello Bluebird. These are new. And for the ink I'm using the Ranger Archival ink in black. Watercolor paper by Canson. And then these various watercolor paint brushes from Adornit, and I have one from Arteza as well. I'm showing one with the water. I don't really use those, but I'm using the brushes from these watercolor brushes. And then a Fantastics. I like to use those for the cheek areas or the small, very small detailed areas. Some water and paper towel. So to get started, I have my unicorn image onto my clear block, and I'm going to ink this up with the archival ink and just stamp onto there. And then I'm going to choose various colors from the watercolor set, and I will have the colors listed in the description below, but I'm just choosing one color from each of the color families that I'm using. I'm not using a darker color for any shading. And I'll show you how I did that, how to get darker areas and then the lighter areas. Okay, this next process I'm just going through and showing how I'm coloring this in. There I set apex. So what I learned in a little bit of art class that I took in college is that you want to have the darker areas in an apex, or where 2 points like a triangle. Where there is a triangle where 2 areas can join, that's where your darker points are going to be. So I just always try to keep that in mind when I'm doing any kind of coloring. I go ahead and lay down my first color, and then I'm going to go back and add the water, and then just do it that way. Now, you know, this is not how everyone does their watercoloring, but it's just how I find works best for me. So again, it doesn't take very much water, and that's why I don't really care for the watercolor brushes with the water in them. I don't have as much control of the water, so I love the tips though. So I just use a little bit of water in a bowl and just wet the ends of my brush with that. Now I'm going back over with a little bit of color here just to get that darker, and then just blending all that out with the water. So as you do this, you'll know how much water you need on your brush. It doesn't take very much at all, especially for such a small space as doing something like the unicorn. Okay. So you'll notice I'm adding the darker color of the gray to that apex, just to those points. Just to those little triangular points there where the 2 edges meet up. And kind of got off camera here, sorry about that, but should hop right back on in view where you can see that. And then again, going back over with the watercolor brush and just blending all that out. Now here I'm showing you I'm touching to the pencil. Actually, I really want some really dark shadows again on these apex points here. Apex may not be the right word, it's just the word I think of, just in that point where everything kind of meets up in a triangular point there. And then here's the cheek. I just do a little dot of the pink, and then I dip in with the Fantastics into a little bit of water and just do a circular motion with that. And then you can always dab off if you need to with a little bit of paper towel. I wouldn't suggest using your finger as I did there. Okay, now to come back and I'm going to do the ear. I've added just a touch of the pink. It just takes a very small touch of the watercolor pencils. Now this is not like using just straight coloring pencils. These are watercolor. So you're going to want to use the water with these, because if they do get wet, you know, of course they will run and the color will run. So you want to set the color with water so it doesn't take a lot. Now I'm going back in, I'm going to start adding color to the mane and the tail. Just at the ends where your darkest color will be is where I lay down the color. I start at the colored area and work into the lightest to make the color lighter. So I work from the colored area again, and then just move that color up to make it lighter. Again, just tapping into that pencil, and then I'm going to go back and add some more color. This makes it very condensed, just in those specific areas. That's why I like to touch on with a fairly damp brush, not too much water on that brush when I tap onto the pencil. Then you'll see how this just kind of smooths out, and how you can really tell the different, the darker color to the lighter color gives you a really pretty effect. Okay, next I'm going to do a little background brushing with the blue color that I use, the watercolor, and I'm going to make some clouds. So I want to keep with the watercolor theme here, so I thought, well, I'll just do some watercolor clouds. So I'm going to lay down some of the blue. This is that same sheet. I've gone ahead and die cut the unicorn out that I just did. So you'll see that section missing over there from that corner of that paper. So I'm just continuing on and using this wide flat brush from Arteza to spread this color out. So you can get it as dark as you want, depending on how dark you want your clouds. And then I'm just going to kind of scrub around in circular motion, just to kind of get that cloud look. Okay, and then I'm going back and adding, just flicking on just some regular water over the top of that, and then using my paper towel to sop up that extra water. I don't know, this part's not really necessary. I just thought it was kind of a fun look, just to kind of give it some of that water droplet look onto the watercolor. So after that's completely dried, or you can heat it up with your heating tool if you need to dry that a little quicker. And then I am going to die cut 3 sets of the 2 clouds from that area that I have just watercolored. You see that there? Okay. Then next I'm going to prepare my background card. Okay, I've die cut 2 circles, and I'll give you the dimensions in the description. And now I'm just using a really cute Bubbles background embossing folder, and I'm going to emboss just the front part of the card. So if you have a Sizzix, you're going to go down to that bottom sandwich to make your sandwich here, and then just run it back through your machine, and voila, there you go. And this embossing folder will also be listed where who it's by, be listed below, but I just love the carryover of the design that goes with the pink polka dot paper that I used here. So I've die cut those circles. Here are the dimensions of those. I'm just going to be using my glue runner to add adhesive to the back. And I'm going to show you here, just because if you're using any kind of these glue guns with this really heavy, thick adhesive, this really good, strong adhesive, you kind of want to flick it. So I'm showing you there, when you're running it across something, if you don't kind of flick it to break that tape from the paper and the glue gun, it will kind of want to trail off and make a mess. So anyway, I'm just layering these two together. Next I'm going to use some foam adhesive tape. This is by Scrapbook Adhesive as well, and just apply that to the back of the pink dot paper. Layer that on top of that pretty blue seashell paper. And then next I'm going to figure out the placement for my clouds. And again, I decided to layer on the smaller clouds to the top of the larger clouds. So just playing around with this, just figuring out exactly where I want these to go and where I want the unicorn to go. So now you can see that I've layered the first two clouds together. I'm just using the small foam adhesive squares to layer the smaller cloud on top of the larger cloud there. And then to attach all of these, I'm just using a small piece of adhesive tape, also by Scrapbook Adhesives. And I like kind of a look that something's not completely glued down, like corner to corner. I kind of like that lifted look. So I just use a small piece of the adhesive tape and just kind of pop it just where I want it. Then here I'm adding a little bit of Castell to the top cloud. Just gives it some shimmer. Anything with unicorns, you gotta have glitter or shimmer or sequins or something like that. So just going over the tops of those. I'm going to add my unicorn. I just added him with a little piece of foam, a foam square as well, just to the top of that. And then I just got in this package of really cool foam balls that I ordered on Amazon for making slime. It's a slime kit. So I'm going to show you that next. Just got these in the mail and I thought, oh, these would be so cute on a card. So I'm just popping that unicorn on there. So here's one of the bags of the beads. It's kind of that green color that's in the unicorn color. And I'm just using the smallest adhesive dots from Scrapbook Adhesives and just using that to attach. It's the perfect size for attaching that. Added a sequin to each one of the clouds and the sentiment to the bottom and a little ribbon. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you've enjoyed the card. If you have any questions, just drop them below. Thanks.